Good morning, directors. My name is Ochome, as you have been told. And today, I have a very light business. As I was told, I'll give remarks. I will give an overview of where we have come from and where we are, what we have been talking about, and what we need to do going forward. This year began on a very difficult note. Prices were escalating for us who run our businesses in schools. Doing business became difficult. Taxes were skyrocketing. And as an association, we thought it was time to be able to come together, cobble ourselves, and do what we thought was purchase things collectively to reduce the cost. But that cry did not meet your interest, so you decided to go solo, and I believe the prices have been really hard on you. But we gave you an opportunity. You did pick it. We brought House of Procurement to be able to deliver goods to your doorsteps. But because this association does not work on a management from the center, it's devolved. Every school is on its own, and we come together as an association. We say, fine, if they don't want it, the few who are able to pick up that did, and it reduced their cost of doing business. We also talked of safety. We also talked of safety of our buses on the roads. So as an association, we decided to do quiet diplomacy and lobbying. And I'm sure quite a number of you do not hear of the telematic things in our buses and the many things that were supposed to be there. And you are wondering what happened. I want to assure you something worked quietly and we achieved those results. Disaster management in schools caught up with us, and we talked about it. I remember that was around April, maybe 7th, and we talked with the county reps, those who were able to come. We gave you opportunity to go and talk to your people in the counties on what to do, and I hope you did that. But I will summarize a little of that as when I finish serialization of what I'm doing. And I believe even today, some of us are pained. Same to me, because when your people are pained, you are also pained. Because we have some of our schools right now being told to do certain things in a certain way. And I want to assure them that that directive has not closed your schools. If in that directive it closed your school, they must have told you what to do. And once you comply, you will be able to call the county officials to be able to give you a clean bill of health to continue. And if there will be any school that feels inconvenience in one way or the other, please, we are available to intervene. But if you are given things to do, which are within the regulations, some of them we have been talking about here, and you have complied and things are not right, please, will be of much help to you. There was the issue of registration of new schools. That was last year to this year. And what surprises me is that the information some of you have is very shallow on the way registrations is supposed to be. So as much as we do things, some of you still ask, how do I get my school registered as a comprehensive school? Are we on the same pathway? Are we on the same wavelength? Because a comprehensive school begins from preschool to the middle school now, to junior school, and to senior school. And when I reflect very well, because these are discussions I've personally, together with my team here, discussed with the PS, and we have passed this to you, that if you feel as a director that your school can only do the preschool, well and good to you. Just do that. And you must be registered, and that registration comes from the county government. If you want to do now grade 1 to grade 6, which is the middle school, or you call it the primary school, there is a registration which you had, which encompassed your school from grade 1 to 8, and nobody has cancelled it. It's still well. You run your schools. But if you want to run grade 7 and 8 and 9, which we now call the junior school, then it must be registered. It needs a registration. And you can still run your schools from that preschool to grade 7, 8, and 9. But now there is also an opportunity for you to progress to grade 10, 11, and 12. That requires a registration because that is what we call the senior school. So you need to understand these things. When you run your school from the preschool to the grade 12, then you are running a comprehensive school. I've seen people who have only preschool to middle school saying a comprehensive school. We cannot stop you, but I hope you understand now. And we thank you for coming, because by coming, we are able to pass that information to you. All the assessments you have done, the one you did in grade 3, the one that was done in grade 6, and the one that will be done in grade 9 are assessments. They are not exams. But for some of us who would want to progress to grade 12, there will be an exam. And I think in our last meeting with NEC, they were very clear that grade 12 will have an exam that will be done. How it will be done, what will be done, I don't have the details. It's still work in progress. What am I trying to say? That education reforms that we have been going through with are coming to fruition, are coming to maturity, because we only have now one level to go. That is the grade 10, 11, and 12. So please take note that you are not confused, that you are not looking for things which you have not been asked. You know, we deal with people who look at you as businessmen other than educators. And the more you create problems by looking for things which have not been asked, the more they are happy to be able to help you to get more confused in the things you are doing. So please understand that you don't need one certificate to run the school. And it was the intention of the government, because I, together with a few of us, had a discussion with the PS, I think in April, and he gave us the roadmap to what the thinking of the government is all about as far as clean energy in the country is concerned. And we are told, I'm not a doctor, that the more you put those workers in your kitchen with firewood, they are consuming a lot of carbon. And there's a lot of coughing in some of the schools, sicknesses that can come from use of firewood, particularly in mass cooking. And you know, Kenya is developing very fast. You are giving birth very fast, producing lawyers, and they need work. I wouldn't be surprised when a director would not be running to us that some people have taken me to court, that they are sick, because they were cooking with firewood, and the doctor said that is the cause of sickness in my school. And it will be very sweet for you to pay that handsome money as a fine, because the courts will listen to what the doctors say. And us, or whoever will be there, might not have the remedy for you. So we think it is better to start planning for clean energy. And clean energy simply means you can use the sun, solar. We are also thinking of LPG, gas. So the government, we were told, was already working on their schools. And the thinking was, once they are through with theirs, they will come to yours, because you know you are a complementary partner. See, we complement the government. Is somebody listening? So if you thought you have a right, and you are working in somebody's home, and the person feels he's strong enough, he can remove you from his home. So they will be saying, from this date, all schools must comply with clean energy. So what does that tell us? That we need to plan early enough and start testing. You can see whether cooking with firewood or gas is more expensive. And I think as an association, ours is to present to you how you can get that help. And what we did, we have partnered with some people, we brought them here, and they have installed gas in certain schools, including where I come from, though not 100%. I'm still doing 30-70 because cook with a little firewood, but we are also using gas. And our experience is that these things are almost zero rated, because cooking with gas is not as expensive as you think cooking with firewood is. Firewood could be more expensive. The president of this country has pronounced himself and said that why should we, as a nation, plant 1 million trees this year and cut 1 million trees this year? What are we doing? So that should send a signal to some of us that there is something awaiting us that can come one day and say, your school is not compliant. And the answer is, you are using firewood. And I don't know if they will come up and say, you cannot use firewood in schools. What will you do if you are not ready? So it's better start those plans early for the sake of your school. When we look at the issues that affected us when we began like taxation, and the first speakers will always say, what are you doing about it? And from where I sit, I say, and you, what are you doing about it? Because this is how it should work. When there is a problem, and I don't hear people from Coast, I don't hear people from Nyanza, I don't hear people from Nairobi, we have leaders across the country talking about it, then I believe we are comfortable. So you have elected chairmen across the country. So when there is a problem, why do you keep quiet? Why don't we hear the people in Bungoma saying, what is all this? But I only hear, what is the national office doing? It's like somebody saying, Chairman, take your hand and help her to push the fire. We are very safe. You just throw the stone, we will not throw it. But we are not quiet. We are partnering with other people. See, when taxation is high, there is what we call multiplier effect in the economy. If golden elites cannot give a certain service because they cannot afford it, the people who are depending on that is not only golden elites. Are you getting me? When tax is increased or introduced in a school, It's not the school that will pay the tax. So the misnomer that private school will suffer is wrong. Who suffers? And I don't hear a voice from the Parents Association. Who pay this money is the parent. The tax will be added to fees and passed to the parent. When the Parents Association are quiet, what am I supposed to do? Who will pay the tax? Not the school. So you think they have added the tax to us? No. They have added the tax to the parents of the students in those schools. Of course, it has not become law. They are toying with it. And when I look at it, from where I sit, it is so discriminative. And taxes are not supposed to be discriminative. Taxes are supposed to be paid by everybody. So when you look at it from a legal perspective, you say, why would a child in school B not pay tax through his parent, and a child in school C pay a tax through his parent? Whose obligation is that? So there's a crisis in it. But we cannot keep quiet. And the schools are in 3 categories in the country. We have the upbet schools, we have the so-called private schools, and we have the international schools. So if everybody decides to keep quiet, everybody suffers. But we believe that we can come together, and we are doing it with other partners, to confront it and discuss it without making noise. You know, Charles Ochome, and you seated there, is not a politician. You are an investor, a businessman. And businessmen lobby. And in lobbying, there are things I cannot discuss here. They are discussed in lobbying. Haven't you heard that such and such a company sponsored a meeting with MPs at the coast, at the Sarova Hotel? Haven't you heard? You have heard. Now, if you have heard, and in the office where I am, some of you have withheld funds to that office, what am I supposed to use to take those people to Mombasa to discuss your issues? You are punishing yourself. So, the work of the chairman is to work together with you. When you come like you have come today, and you're able to pay the fees you paid to come here, we'll be able to meet other government officials. You know, there are things I cannot speak publicly, but I'm communicating, and I believe as a business person, you are an investor. I hope I'm not talking to pretenders to the throne, because pretenders to the throne are very negative people. They do not understand. What do I mean? I'm not talking to employees. I'm talking to directors who one day decided to invest in something that he wants to leave when he's no more there. And that person must be very keen in the investment. That person does not play around. But the noisemakers do not even know what it is to be able to say, let's take our MPs to discuss this with them, so that when this comes to Parliament, they can talk in favor of us. I don't know whether I'm talking to people who are not living in Jerusalem. I'm talking to visitors. I hope that's not what I'm doing. I'm talking to Kenyans who live in Kenya, who understand Kenya, and knows how it operates. With those few remarks, I don't want to bore you. I wanted to highlight a few things to remind you of where we are coming from and to set the way forward. Going forward, if you have started your school and you have done from the preschool to grade 9, why should you leave those children and not go with them to grade 10, 11, and 12? I know my friend who is running a secondary school tell me that it is so difficult to get students in high school. That is the thing we are breaking. Because now we have these children moving with us. When we leave them halfway, we'll never get them again. Somebody listening? When we leave these children in grade 9 and hope to get them another time, it will be too late. Because CBC is new to everybody. It's a new development. And when new development comes, it's the people who think beyond the problems they are seeing that will succeed. Darusa, no, you are listening because you are a very objective person. But I want to say this. To them that will move with their children, it will never be the same again. If you move with your children, we came with them from the preschool, we are now with them in grade 9, we go with them to grade 12, and we are able to prepare them well. I hope it's not just a movement. You know, getting to Canaan for some people was very difficult after 40 years. Some did not enter Canaan. But we are told the people who arrived were given land. This is for the Benjamins, this for this family. I'm looking for that day that Kpsa would have taken an inch of the high school education because they moved to Canaan together, and therefore they were able to say, this school in Nakuru has been with us. The parents will say, because they will have seen the efforts you made. They will have seen the work you have done. And if you are not doing any work, don't move. Because it will be too late. Because grade 12 will be an exam class. I hope, like the Jews who are suffering in Egypt, and when they moved, the ones who crossed were given land. Read your Bible if you are a Christian. Muslim brothers, I hope there is something like, because our religion is not very far from you. But looking at it, there is a prize to receive after difficulties. With those few remarks, God bless you. Thank you so much.